Hey guys, welcome back to our real life scenario.
I kept it cool today.
She did.
I kept it good.
Shout out to our real lovers out there. We back another week.
Hi guys.
Hello. Let me ask y'all something. This is strictly for my DMV folks and the surrounding areas. Have you RSVP'd for the event? Yeah, I'm calling you out.
Yeah,
you
I'm
listening?
I'm looking at you in your face if you watching.
You looking? Did you go on our site or go on our page and register for the event? Unplugged Connection. Oh, Rhonda getting bucked.
I will fight
that
you.
Baltimore coming out now.
You better
know
come. You better come. It's gonna be a good time.
It's going to be a good time, man. Make sure you go to our website or you go to our Instagram page and register RSVP for our event, Unplugged Connections.
It's going to be so good.
It's going to be so much fun. It's going to be good vibes. It's free.
It's no need for you to not be there. You have no excuses. Someone literally said to me, I sent her the link and she was like, oh, I can't right now. Like things are just tight for me. And I was like, it's free, baby. She was like, oh my God, yes, let's go. You have no excuses.
Exactly. Go. That's crazy saying that without even seeing the price. But, you know, everybody's
when you know,
you're right.
I don't care if it's $10, I can't come.
Well, you know. That's you're right. You're right. And some people are like, I ain't trying to even tempt myself or not. But yes, come out. It's free. Yes. We would love to have you guys. We're going to have a live podcast and then we're going to just have a connection event where it's just good music, good vibes, games, questions, connection. We're just going to have a great time.
An amazing time. And you just might meet your person. Like we're not making no promises or anything.
Promises.
But the vibes. If y'all did not catch that list that Dre just said that with, shout out to 3LW. Listen, what the hell was I saying? You might meet your boo. You might meet your boo. Okay, like you might meet your boo. Y'all, let me let y'all in on a little secret, real quick about us.
You probably gonna say the same thing.
We about to say the same thing.
Yeah.
A little secret is that Dre and I tape at different times, right? Majority of the time it's early. Majority of the time it's in the mornings or early day. But anytime the episode gets a little goofy, it's late night.
It's late night,
so
for sure.
It's late for us anyway. So welcome. This should be a fun one.
And if you're new to the show, Rhonda and I, we just have this thing like certain words trigger songs and then we just go with it.
We vibe every time.
It's just it's
my dog. It's a synergy.
We gotta do it.
Real
and I mean, I had to put the list on there.
You had to.
That's like, the song. That's part of the essence of it.
Had to. Like, I am not.
Like, without the list, they'd be like, what song is that?
What is it? You can't just say that. Because you got Sierra's Promise.
Exactly.
Right? But the Promises is a whole different situation. It's not even, the name of the song is not even Promises.
Nope.
Okay? It's not. So, I'm with you. You know I'm always with you.
I appreciate that. So, while we're getting our real lovers to come to our event, I want to shout out a real lover who's like, yo, I love y'all. Y'all dope. Hello. This is A Gemini.
Hey, Gemini.
The subject says, just keeps on giving. I don't even know what episode she's referring to, but she said, this week's episode was too good. Rhonda's definitely that first cousin on your mama's side that always happens to be the first girl, so her experience and stories hit different, making you appreciate that wisdom on life.
Yeah.
I love the ability to relate as a listener and the level of vulnerability and honesty you both contribute. Deep sigh. I'm so grateful for this podcast and the genuine friendship between the hosts. Love y'all for real.
Thank you. That was so good.
We appreciate y'all.
Be like A Gemini and you leave a review, okay?
For sure.
Show us some love. We appreciate it. We get a lot of love in the DMs and we love that too. And in the comments, we love that too. But put it where it counts the most. And that's leaving us a review.
For sure. We appreciate y'all. And I want to also appreciate all the real lovers who gave me birthday wishes. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
For those who are listening and didn't know, I just turned 30.
Finally.
On the other side.
Oh, yes, he's on the other side.
Third decade of life.
Yes, indeedy.
And
what year is
I'm excited.
this? Is that like you got Jordan years, you got Kobe? Who's 30?
I went to see Steph Curry.
Okay. Is that his number?
Yeah, this is his number.
Wow.
I went to see Steph in San Francisco.
Year.
It's my Steph year.
Very nice.
Curry year.
I love it.
And that's one of my favorite players. Look at that.
I love that.
Him and Aisha got something beautiful, beautiful kids. That's something to aspire to right there.
That's good. Staff, call us. Alicia, call us. Is it Alicia?
Aisha.
Jesus. Call us. Okay, sorry. I was close. Sorry. Alicia Keys, I got you mixed up.
All good folks.
Yes.
All good folks. All right, guys. So we're going to get into our real life love scenario. It's so funny because we referenced this on our last episode and then it started churning.
Oh, so then gosh.
You had the people on one side. you know what? She right. Cheesecake Factory. We don't want to go there, and let's put out a list
of all the places.
We
not going.
Okay, so we're gonna start with the women's list.
So how should we do this? Should you read them and I say yes or no?
That's cool.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, so here's a list of places women absolutely refuse to go on a first date to, and thank you to the ladies who reached out to me to help me on this list. That's what this post says.
Okay.
All right, number 1, Cheesecake Factory.
Yes.
Applebee's.
No.
Chili's.
No.
Chipotle.
Yes, actually.
First date?
Sure.
Lunch date?
Lunch date. We can sit outside. Let's get a cute one.
Okay.
Yeah, in a nice little area. Yeah.
Olive Garden. You had a question.
I like the breadsticks.
I was about to say Olive Garden sneaky good,
but the vibes ain't right.
The movies.
Preferably not on a first date now.
Maybe if it was that Sphere in Vegas that everybody talking about, that looked kind of cool.
Yeah, and that's only just because I want to talk on the first date. I feel like we can't talk.
Your house.
No.
It's not even their house. Your house.
No, yeah, no. No, not my house.
Any fast food chain.
Well, I said yes to Chipotle. We talking like the Burger King, McDonald's of the world? No.
No, but maybe, this is on here. I ain't gonna even say it. Buffalo Wild Wings.
No.
That's like
I just don't like their food.
That's like a mandate. Like, we gonna watch a game.
I was gonna say, okay, maybe if we were going on a game night and like that was the vibe.
Trivia?
Yeah, maybe something like that. But I just don't really like their food.
Wingstop.
No.
Red Lobster.
Yes.
Y'all, them garlic biscuits.
Red Lobster.
Y'all better not be playing on the biscuits at Red Lobster.
They will never not hit.
Oh my god.
They will never not hit.
What?
And Red Lobster really does still. They try to set a little ambiance.
They do.
So
it's live lobsters up in the front.
I'm not mad at it.
For sure. A buffet.
Please God, no, never, no dates. Never take me to the buffet.
Okay, it would need to be like Chima's or Fogo where they bringing the food around.
Yeah, that's a different story. Yeah, yes.
IHOP.
Maybe.
That's a late night. That's
like we went out, we met
like
somewhere,
and
we went and got to the breakfast spot. That's the equivalent of a diner.
Yeah, we're gonna throw Waffle House on there too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's on the list. See, I'm already thinking Denny's.
Please no, I hate their food.
Yeah, it's a lot of them in California too, and the gym.
Maybe it just depends on like how we talk leading up to that. And maybe that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. Church.
No.
Okay. Starbucks.
Yes.
Coffee dates.
Yes.
Ice cream dates.
Yes.
Family functions.
Maybe not, but maybe. Depends on what it is.
Okay. Movie night. That sounds like somebody's crib. Netflix.
Yeah, if that's in somebody's house, no. But if it's like a movie night in a field, you know how areas or towns have like movie nights? Yes.
Okay. Somewhere that requires a long drive.
Yes.
Bowling.
Sure.
Nightclubs.
No. Never.
What's your name?
So are you from here? No. Please God, no.
And you might just, if that person can't dance, you might just be like, I
need you to have some rhythm.
Hookah bar.
Sure.
A bar for just drinks.
Yes.
Waffle House.
Again, on a late night, that's how we just happened upon it. Yes.
Sporting event.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I had way more yeses.
You do. What do you think about the list just in general?
I my real thought on it is that no list can determine or answer for all people, right? So there are some people who would go to all of those places. There are some people who would go to none of those places. You know, whatever your preferences are, I guess. I think my only thing, just like I talked about with the lady in the story, with the video, is that it's the way you're handling it. And if a person really doesn't know you, because again, this is a first date. So like they don't probably know you unless you all talked for a long period of time before you went on your first date. You should just be courteous and go. You know what I mean? Like just go and see what the vibe is. And again, if you like the person, you enjoyed that time, then you can talk through like, I really don't like the food at Denny's. So I went because I didn't want to be rude or anything, but like, I really don't like eating there, or I'm uncomfortable eating there. Or it could be that you're cool with the food, but the bathrooms are really dirty and you don't want to go to a place like that. I just feel like Yeah, like you just sometimes people don't know you enough to understand what you would or wouldn't do. So I don't think you should be so harsh sometimes. Now, I think in general though, fast food, that's like the only one on there where I'm like, come on, like don't take anybody on a McDonald's, Burger King, unless you know how to make that fun. If you know how to make that cute and fun, it could work.
Yes.
Like if I tell you I love McDonald's or something, or like I always wanted to go to the Playhouse, but my mom never let me go, and you make it fun and cute, it could work. So that's why it's hard to look at that list and be like, I get it. Like, no, these places are bad. It just depends on the person.
For sure.
Yeah.
I completely agree. And I think that the issue that I have with even making a list is that you're shutting yourself off from possible moments. Because there's so many people that have met and done things in an unconventional way, in a very interesting way. Yeah. I think a lot of times when it comes to places that people go on first date, it comes down to proximity, number one. And it comes down to situation. I could think of a time maybe somebody might have had their first date at McDonald's and they talk about it and they joke about it as that was the first time they actually sat down and had a moment together. Yep. But I think the cool thing about is like when you're very interested in somebody, or let's say you have a moment, you meet them out, you set up a first date. I've been in those times before, in those moments, and the thing I'm most interested in is like just getting to know that person.
Yes.
The setting is like, obviously there's settings that can make it more romantic or more intimate.
Yeah.
But I'm more interested in the person.
Yes.
Not really the place.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So,
and the places that were hard no's for me are places that I feel like I really can't do that. Like hard no. Like, the movies. It's a hard no unless we're doing something after that, or we did something before that where I got to talk to you and then we did that. Otherwise, no, it would be the same in like like if we went to the opera. Like the opera is a beautiful date. Like it would be lovely, but we can't talk. We have to literally sit there and be very, very, very quiet. Not ideal for a first date. Is it a great date idea? Yes, but I don't know. I don't know you.
Yeah, so people have to understand dates are for conversation and connection.
Yes.
If you're not able to have a conversation or connect with somebody, then it probably isn't a great place for a first date. So that's the rule of thumb.
So listen, the tables are going to turn.
And let me just say that this list was made in retaliation.
Yes, it was.
Men were attacked. Missiles were flying. So we had to set up, the brothers came together and had to set up a defense system to retaliate for the slander and the weaponization
they was fighting back
of words in restaurants. So this was a list that was made to fight back.
I love this list. Let me tell you, I was so entertained when I saw this list. I hollered out loud by many of the things on it, and I also feel like, damn, dude,
this was one that like there was one on the list that just had me weak, and I wonder if it's going to be the same thing.
Okay,
but I'm going to think in my current mindset, not like when I was a young dude dating whatever. Because movies was like when you was young, like movies was date all the time.
Yeah, that was totally a thing.
Always like I've been to a Tyler Perry movie date when I was younger. As an adult, would that be a first date? No.
Yeah,
okay.
No. Okay. So here we go. First one: weddings.
Possibly.
Okay. A Tyler Perry.
Leaning no.
Okay. A Tyler Perry movie.
No.
Chick flick movies.
No.
Her family functions.
No.
Anything to do with her children.
No.
Shopping.
No.
Vacation.
Yes.
Okay. You would do a vacation as a first date?
As a grown person, you know, sometimes you in those moments where you like, man, I like this person. They like me. I met them out. Sometimes you have those like effort. I'm just going to see what happens.
Plus, I'm going to still enjoy myself because it's a vacation.
Exactly. Okay. And who knows? And I think there's kind of like this thing to where it's like if you don't know somebody as well and you just kind of are living like, I'm just going to live a free, just like spontaneous like experience. And at that moment, especially, that's probably when you're the most attracted to that person physically too.
Yeah,
it's like
true.
You're just like kind of like infatuated with them physically. It's like, I'm just gonna make a thing.
I like the way you thinking on this one also because you get an undivided amount of their attention more than you would on just like a dinner date. Exactly. Like you're out of town with them for more than one day probably.
Like let's say like you meet somebody out, you having drinks and you just like y'all vibing, the conversation great, and they just like, listen, this is crazy. I don't know what you got going on this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, but I booked a cabin up in Massanutten. That's like 3 hours. I would love if you just join me for the weekend. It's crazy. I know you don't know me like that. Here's my ID. I'll show you everything. But I'm feeling this right now. Like, and then you might just be like,
yikes. You might be like, cool. I would be scared as hell. But
I mean, you might also be like, depending on where you are in life, you might just be like, hey, if I die, I die. But you know, I'm just gonna go for it this time.
Right. If I die, I die.
I've been playing it safe. It ain't been working out.
2 things could happen. I could die, or this could be my husband. I'm rolling the dice.
I feel like we all done been there at some points to where it's like it's just been like, F it. Like, this ain't usually how I go about things, but.
Yo, welcome to the Real Love Scenario Podcast. Okay, next one. Okay, the worst thing that can happen, you could die. Okay, spa. Now, I know you lying, mister. We gonna go on this vacation in the cabin.
Because that seemed like it's more of a you thing than a me thing.
Okay.
Nah, probably not.
Okay. With her to pay her bills.
No.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry. With her to pay bills.
No.
Okay. The courthouse.
No.
Any place that serves tomahawk steaks.
This is hilarious.
So funny.
Because you know every place that serve them is like...
very nice. Very expensive. They don't have tomahawks everywhere, y'all.
So you see tomahawk steak on that menu, you like... Whenever, and then they say MKT by the market.
Okay.
Determine the price. Okay. They ain't about to tell you.
And tomahawks, for those who may not know, they're really designed to share. They really are, because that's how big they are.
They be like 25, 27 ounces, like even larger than that.
Yes.
Yeah. So I would definitely.
Okay.
Will we order the tomahawk?
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
But it's on the menu. Got it. Okay. The bank.
No.
Repairing her car.
No.
Repairing anything in her home or apartment. This includes her family members and friends' homes.
No.
The bank again.
No.
They just want to make it clear. We're not going to the bank.
No.
We're not going to the bank. Okay, so majority of yours were no. And I think the list was designed in that way.
Yes,
like it's literally a list of no's. Yes. Wow. That's funny. That was funny. That was very funny.
I mean, the thing is that this list is created, both of these lists are created. I think the women's one was more serious, right? And it's like, why would you take me here? I think men created this list and it's to be a retaliation and a joke, but like, nah, we've experienced women
this.
Trying to do this. And I think, you know what I think the issue is a lot of times is that most men, and I could be wrong, I'm coming up with this right now.
Okay.
I feel like most men go on dates with women that they actually are attracted to and actually like. Right? Yeah. Where I feel like women sometimes will go on dates with dudes that they don't really like or who they know like them. And if they go on a date with a dude who they know like them and they feel like they're giving that man a chance or they're actually doing something for him because he's been pursuing, you better treat me like Queen Sheba herself. Like, you better roll out the red carpet. It shouldn't be no average thing because I'm giving you an opportunity and a chance to court me.
Yes.
So that's where I feel like a lot of times this comes from. Like, I'm sure if a girl was out and Chris Brown was like, yo, let's go to Cheesecake Factory, he'd be like, yeah.
Actually, Chris, we could go to McDonald's if you like.
Wherever you want to go. I think your house is on the list too. I'll go there.
Totally can go there. Plenty of space.
But I feel like it's people when they like, I feel like they're giving somebody an opportunity and they should be happy for their opportunity. Then it's like, oh, you better not take me here or there. Some of these I get though, like the nightclubs, no, that's just a lot. And church can be interesting.
Yes.
Like that could be an interesting thing.
Yes. I think only because I actually think a certain amount of reverence is required for that. And I feel like it's such an intimate thing. Like spirituality is such an intimate thing. Now, if you met the person at church, maybe you would call it a date. Like this particular time you go to church together. But if I didn't meet you in that space, that's something that I would want to do with you, but not first. Not on the first date.
I'm trying to think. Brie and I, no, it wasn't our first date.
But it was early on.
It was early on to where it was our first time to where we're like, we're together and we did something. But it wasn't our first date.
Yeah. Because it's just a lot of intentionality about doing spirituality.
It's a lot
together.
of vulnerability there too. And it's like, do I want to open that up?
But I swear every time I go to church, and this might mean I'm a sinner real bad, but I feel, as soon as I enter the doors, I'd be like, and I don't know this man to be sitting here doing this with him. He's having to console me. And I'm like, what's your last name? Oh, thank you. Like, that's crazy. Like, no, church is too intimate. It's like being in my house. To me, it's kind of the same thing. Very intimate, sacred spaces.
Yeah, and then you don't know what the message ever gonna be. You don't want to make it awkward.
Yeah,
because I heard some of y'all in here today met some people last night, and y'all got them up in here in the church today. You looking just like.
Do you know him? Did you tell him that we just met? Crazy. I love the list. I thought it was fun, especially the guys list. But I do think, like Dre said, it's really more about getting to know someone. And a part of dating is it's a learning process.
It is.
You may very well learn, like, this person doesn't necessarily have a problem with the price points of Cheesecake Factory or the price points of Chipotle, but maybe they don't like their food. They just literally don't like what they offer there.
You see what Russ did for Sierra.
Exactly. Like, and to those of you that are trying to compare it, especially to men, I love y'all. Y'all know how bad I love y'all, but that's not exactly the same. That is his wife. Yes. That is her favorite restaurant, and he bought it out. He didn't just take her on a regular night. He bought out the whole space, decorated it, had her friends there. It was a thing. Yeah,
because Sierra can't go in a Waffle House and just be like,
let me get a number 2 Grand Slam with all chicken melt with the extra cheese, please, and the milkshake. Yeah, no, she can't do that.
When was the last time she probably actually sat in one and just like enjoyed a meal?
Yes.
It probably was nostalgia for her, stuff like that.
Yes.
But I said that to say is that everybody's different, what people enjoy, like different things like that. But connection, conversation.
Yes.
And then you can weave some of these things into other things. Yes. So it doesn't have, ice cream date could be from like a secondary part of another date. You know what I mean?
There's a museum and ice cream. Coffee in the museum, coffee and ice cream. Maybe you did a walk in between that. Like exactly. You had coffee earlier in the day, then you went for a nice little scenic walk in a garden or something, and then you went and had ice cream before you left each other. It's just such a way. Like, I've said this so many times on here, but like, we have to think outside of the box sometimes about dating, because it's not always that you can't afford to do something. You haven't even researched it. Like, I love Swedish Fish. If somebody figured out that there was some sort of festival or a special store or something, or like the history of Swedish Fish, I might like really like that, because you thought about me. That's thoughtfulness.
That's what people
that might
want.
Only cost you $20.
Let's say I meet somebody out. We're texting. What you doing? Oh, I'm at lunch. Where you at? I'm at Chick-fil-A. I got an obsession with Chick-fil-A. It's kind of weird. Then you plan a date and you do a picnic, but then you bring out the basket and it's Chick-fil-A.
And you got all the sauces there for me.
That's cute.
Yes.
But it's Chick-fil-A.
I'm into it because it's very thoughtful and cute.
We dropping gems for y'all, man.
Y'all welcome.
Yeah, there y'all go.
Y'all welcome.
There y'all go.
All right, it's time to get into our real love scenario. Did I lose it? Oh, I didn't, because it was already up on my screen. And I'm opening extra things, and now my computer's freezing. Sorry, guys. Okay. Technical issues. We are back. We are here. Let's do it. So this is not correct. Jesus Christ.
It's from Anonymous, right?
It is. All right. I've got it. Thank you for your patience. Okay. This is from Anonymous. She says, I'm in a long distance relationship with a guy in the UK while I am in South Africa. We met online and haven't met in person yet. Let me say that I've never felt so deeply connected to someone before. I truly believe God sent him, because when he showed up, I was ready to love him. He is kind, and he sometimes sends me money for my hair. It's been hard though, because we fight and he hits me with silent treatment after. Since I'm often becoming too emotional, I end up realizing how wrong I was, and then I apologize. Recently, he hit me with awful, harsh words, and we haven't spoke for 3 days. Haven't spoken for 3 days. I really have been faithful and honest with him about everything, but I did keep one thing from him. I have a child with my ex-fiance. Since I told him, he hasn't responded. Do you think he might leave me? Also, should I hold on to this or am I being delusional? Thank you so much. And thank you for tuning in from South Africa.
Thank you. Shout out. Yes. Appreciate that. Yes. International.
Yes, indeed.
Mr. Worldwide.
Okay.
There we go. All right, Rhonda, where do you want to start with this?
Jesus. I just love the whole, I did hide one thing.
Minor.
Nothing crazy. Nothing too crazy. Jesus, I just want to get that out the way. But, she leads in talking about being in a long distance relationship, which poses its own set of pros, but also I think a lot of cons.
Yes.
So, and I think that's a factor in this whole story. So I wanted to just talk about like some of the cons of long distance dating, perhaps some of the pros too. But like, can you truly know someone if you're that far apart? Like, can people easily hide their lives? Is that a con of long distance dating?
Yeah, I think it is for sure. It's hard to. My cousin always said that you don't know somebody until you go on vacation with them. Until you're around them like 24/7, seeing how they act, all the time, then that's when you truly get the essence for who somebody is.
Sure.
And I think that even when you're dating in person and you're in the same city or something like that, it still takes time to get to know somebody. But I can't imagine, dating somebody and not ever seeing them physically.
Yes.
At any moment.
No.
Anything could happen to where I think even when I think of like conflict, it's like I could just go ghost. Or if I don't like the conversation where it's going, I can say my laptop died or my phone died and escape that conversation. Like I could have another relationship and that would be very easy to do.
Yes.
Because I control
your access to
me at
like
all points.
The real kind.
Yeah. And even if I tell you I'm going to share my location, I'm in the UK. You don't know where this place is. Oh, that's my cousin's flat. Like you don't.
You know nothing. You know nothing.
You know nothing. So I could imagine.
You can't pop up on me.
No, you can't. So I can't imagine. I would imagine it's very tough to have a long distance relationship without meeting somebody. And I don't think you're able to have, a true connection without that being a thing.
Yeah. And I think these are, when people can do it, those are definitely the exceptions. I think lots of people find love through long distance dating, but they make a point to definitely meet and then create frequency around seeing each other. Like maybe we are long distance truly for a month or two, but after that amount of time, like I can't imagine going any further without seeing you in person. I'm also really big on like physical energy. Like I need to see how I feel around you. And I could feel amazing on FaceTime with you and on the phone with you, but until I'm sitting next to you, I need to feel that feeling, and I can't go much longer without feeling that. And that's before we even get into like having actual intimacy, like physical, sexual intimacy. That's before we even kiss. That's before we even have sex. Like, does my spirit just feel good with you? I need to know that. Otherwise, I couldn't go on for months and months and months. I couldn't fall in love with a person without being physically around them first. So I think I have a disconnect with her being deeply connected to him without ever having met him.
See, the thing is that I guess I agree with you, but I think maybe you can fall in love with somebody that way, but it's not the full version of that person that you're falling in love with.
Yes.
And I think about that, like even, I don't know if anybody has watched the Netflix series with Manti Te'o, who's the football player. You remember that? He had the girlfriend.
You told me about
I told you about that.
Yes, it was so good.
So crazy that this one was his girlfriend. He never met her, but the connection, the conversation, all that stuff led him to really falling for this person. So I think that depending on what the voids are in your life and the holes that you want to be filled, whether that's emotionally, spiritually, anything, that you can meet somebody who can help fill that through the conversation that you have.
Yeah.
And you could fall in love with that relationship. But that's not them entirely.
It's not.
So it's like you fell in love with a part of them or a version of them, but not
Not all of
All
them.
of them.
Yeah. And we don't have a lot of context around like how long they've been dating or how old they are. But when I think about falling in love, even using Teo's story, that like he was very young. This was a relationship that started when he was leaving high school or in college.
In college, but still like you're 19.
Yeah. 20, like I feel like that is easier to experience or easy to be naive to when you're a lot younger and you don't require a lot to have a deep connection. Like you just don't. Like even when you think about dating at 14 and 15, you didn't have a lot of standards, like, are you cute? Do you talk to me? Will you wear like my jacket?
Yeah.
That's it. That's all we need to have happen for this to be a thing. And so I think when you're young and you're experiencing this, it probably does, you don't require a lot. Like conversation is paramount. It really, really is. But like I said, I couldn't imagine doing that. So it would be hard for me. I am starting though, in full transparency, to be a little more open to possibly long distance dating. Within the domestically. So you have to be here and preferably no more than like a 3-hour flight.
Got you.
But I am open to it because it just opens up the options.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you're not that far away, it would be easy for us to see each other. I'm comfortable enough where I can afford to do that. Hopefully you would be too. And I truly believe, I don't know where this belief comes from, but I truly believe that like I'm supposed to be with a Southern man.
Okay.
Yeah, like truly. Now he could be here. He could have migrated here, but grew up in the South.
Got you.
But I believe that. And so it's like, I think my man might be in the Carolinas or the Alabamas or maybe not Florida, but but other parts.
Florida man.
Not a Scott Cunningham. No. But yeah, so I am opening myself up to that, but not too far.
Yeah.
Not too far.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we had to look at long distance dating a lot different than how we looked at it 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. There's so many different ways to communicate and talk and, build connection with somebody versus how it was, a few years ago. I remember when I was in high school, you remember that one snowstorm? It was like really, really bad.
Yes, everybody was hoping just we have another one this year.
Stuck in the house. And I remember, now normally you would be off of work, but you probably still have to work now.
Right.
But there used to be a service called Uvu, and that's when Skype started to become popular. So it was like Uvu and Skype, and you had like the little things that you would do, and that was like new technology at that point. That was like, oh, did you download Uvu? Y'all, some people, I'm old now, since I'm 30. Y'all remember downloading Flash Player and all that stuff like that in order to view things. Because everything on your phone now. But now technology is a little bit different. So I do understand that there's different ways to connect with somebody and have a relationship that makes you feel really connected, because the visual aspect, especially like the FaceTime and stuff like that. Yeah. But you had talked about a deep connection, like what that means at a different age. That can mean different things. What does a deep connection like truly mean to you? How would you define that?
It's funny because I feel like I would struggle to define it, but I'm going to try, because a deep connection for me is rooted in so many things that I need to feel. And not like in the superficial way. Like I just need to feel butterflies. Like, yes, that's important. But something about you and what you bring to my life needs to create a shift in my life. I need to feel elevated. I need to feel really inspired, or I need to sometimes feel like if I don't sense your presence or it's been too long, not in a clingy way, but like that I feel the absence of you, like to me, that is when you are really, really connected. Even when you're like, I'm sure you and Bree experienced this, like you might be thinking about her and she might be thinking about you, but you're not together. And then she calls or she texts and you feel like you thought her into communicating with you. That type of thing, like to me, that is a really deep connection. But to develop that, I can define it better by like how you get that. I feel like, yes, obviously conversation and really getting into your mind and understanding what you like and what you don't like, what makes you tick, what inspires you, what brings you down, knowing all of those things. Also just like having really good intellectual intimacy, like not just through conversation. Like I can just be with you and be doing nothing, but mentally feel very stimulated by that. I feel safe with you. I feel comfortable with you. Like I feel okay to be vulnerable with you. I can tell you things and you can handle it a certain way, or like you're super supportive. Like all of these things help me to develop a deep connection with you. Like words of affirmation matter to me. So being encouraging in that way. Once you combine all of these things, and then we have the spiritual connection, like you are aligned spiritually, you believe in a higher power, you believe in God, you believe in prayer, you understand that that needs to be the center point of your life. Like once all those things are firing, I feel like the last piece is really the physical connection. And if those things are going really good, and the anatomy, because y'all know I ain't gonna act like that don't matter, because it matters. The anatomy is right, that's the cherry on top. That is really like an explosion of a very deep connection. It doesn't mean that we're not gonna have problems, that we're not gonna have challenges, that we're not always gonna see eye to eye. But that connection is what allows us to get through those difficult times, because that's how deeply connected we are. So it's just more of a thing. I gotta feel it all over.
Got you.
Yes.
I love that. I think that's a good definition of what that is.
Yeah, that was long, but that's me.
It's okay.
That's me. What about you? How did you know you had a deep connection to Bree? Because just being around you all, you can feel it, you can sense it, it's clear. Even when it's not like romantic, you can just still tell like these two people are in tandem. They are in step.
I think that I feel like you can have deep connections with different people. Mm-hmm. Of course, the relationships are different, but I think a deep connection is a place of complete vulnerability, and it's a space of trust. It's a trust connection. It's a safety connection, and it's a connection that allows for vulnerability, knowing that you still have the respect and love of your partner or person. And that's the way I think of it, because I think the people that I have deep connections with is I would truly feel like I can be myself completely. Yeah. There's no, and not saying that you put on an act for anybody else, but sometimes there's certain parts of yourself that you don't share.
Yeah, it's protected.
To protect it, because you can't trust people with certain information. You don't feel like the place that you are with that person is truly a safe space. You don't feel like you can be naked, vulnerable in front of that person. But those people you have deep connections with, you have that ability to be completely naked in all forms and saying, this is me and this is who I really am. Yeah. I feel that with my wife. I feel that with my mother, right? And even some of my friends, I feel like I have that deep connection with to where I can be vulnerable, transparent, especially, all who I am, and they still love me and respect me. Yeah. And I think that, there are a lot of people who even get married who aren't deeply connected. Yes. Because a lot of that relationship is just surface level. But then once they start unpeeling things, it's like, oh, I didn't know that's the person that you were. Yeah. Or you have people who are just scared to do that. Like, and it's crazy that you could think like somebody marries somebody and they're scared to still like show themselves. I remember I was watching a show, and this is not an older show, but it was set in an older time. And it's dramatic, but I think it's representative of a way of thinking that women had at one point. And it was like this woman who she would go to sleep after her husband with all her makeup, hair done. Then she would like wipe it off, go to sleep. And then she would set an alarm, get up early, do her hair, put her makeup on, and then lay back down in the bed. And then the husband would wake up and she'd be like, hey, baby. And it's like this thing of like
performing.
I can't show you who I really am because you may not love me or that version of me. So I'm going to keep up this front. And I feel like that is, although it was a show, it's representative of a lot of people's relationship, whether that's actually physical things or other things in their life, to where they're just putting on a front to make it seem like there's something, but that's not truly who they are.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so unfortunate. Like, it's just so sad. And like you said, it's crazy. I use that word so much, but it's interesting to me that anybody would actually marry and not have that feeling. And I think it just goes to show that some people really marry for the purpose of elevation in life. They marry because somebody said this is what you're supposed to do when you get to this age. You know, they marry because of the business benefits of it all. And it's not really out of like true love and connection and passion and a true like want to do life with someone. It's just like, it's a matter of fact, it's a thing that you're checking off the list. And like, I certainly don't want that for myself, and I don't want that really out of any relationships. But I feel like marriage is like the highest union. You know, if you have that in your life, that's the highest union that you have with another human being, other than like your parents. But even marriage is higher than that. Once you have that, I can't imagine like feeling like I'm in a relationship with a stranger. I can't imagine if I was her husband. Like that would run out quick. I don't know what type of man he even is to not catch on to the fact that, why am I waking up next to you made up, hair done? Like, it's beautiful. You look very nice, but this cannot be real. Like, I don't even want you to do this. I do not want you to lose sleep or think that you need to do that for me. In fact, I do want to see you not made up. I want to see your hair all over your head. Like, that's actually okay. And it's cute. Like, I've definitely been in relationships and looked at him laying there and all of his snoring, drooling glory. And I'm like, that's my baby. Look at him. He's sleeping so hard. That baby is dreaming. He's dreaming a dream. And I'm okay with that. He doesn't look great right now, but he's not at a photo shoot. He's in the bed. This is where you're supposed to look like that. So,
I feel like when you have that space with somebody, especially if you're talking about a true relationship, I always think to myself, whenever I'm talking to Bree, whenever she's saying something, whenever she's expressing something, whenever she's doing anything, I'm like, if she can't be real with me, then who else could she be real with? If she can't be real with me, then that's the issue. So even if it's things that I don't really care about, whether it's a dispute with her and her friends or something like that, or it's a subject that I could care less about, or it's something that she thinks is important, but in my head, I'm like, that's not important. I still want to open the space up because I'm like,
I'm her person.
If she can't be raw and be out and open with me, like who can she be that way with? And I don't want it to be a situation where she feels like she can't. So then she goes elsewhere to try to fill that void of expressing herself or having whatever raw emotions that she has. So I think, and it's funny for Brie and I, like we both know if each other don't like something, we may do things for the other person as like a gesture to show like, oh, I love you. But we know the things that we don't like. We don't act like we like things that we don't like for the other person. That's not a thing. Because that's how you mess up. People act like they like things that they don't like just for the other person. And it's like, nah.
No, baby, I'm just here to support you. I don't like it, but I'm supporting you, okay? We're super clear on that.
For sure.
So speaking of vulnerability, because I feel like this is a thing where women have so much room to do it. So much room to be vulnerable. There's so many spaces made for it. I think in general, we're just fluffier as a gender and like, oh, cry, it's okay. Do you feel like men, or if you've ever even personally experienced it, where there was a struggle to be vulnerable, or that men really want that and need that, and we need to do a better job maybe at creating those spaces?
For sure. I feel like men don't truly have the green light to be vulnerable. As much as we've progressed as a society and understanding mental health and wanting men to be sensitive and have that sensitive side, it's not natural for women or for men to allow men to be sensitive. It takes an adjustment. I've seen, well, let me say this. Men have insecurities just like women do.
Yes.
I've been in relationships with women who will randomly cry because they looked in the mirror and they saw something they didn't like. Break down crying. And it's just like comfort, nothing, you wouldn't be frowned upon for doing that or thought of any differently. Let a man do that. It's soft. Like, what, you crying? Like,
because you don't like what? Boy, get out of here.
It's like, that's not something that would be socially accepted or somebody would really care about. Or even if you may give this woman a scenario, but if she actually sees it, she might look at that man differently. Like, this the man that's supposed to protect. This the man that's supposed to provide. And he crying because he got a little stomach that he see in the mirror or something, you know, or something like that. It's like, I feel like that, or he losing his hairline or something like that. Like, we all have insecurities, but for men, that is not acceptable.
Yeah.
And I think that is tough in relationships because women have to understand when that moment is happening. When that man is letting down his guard and revealing to you something that he is super insecure about, super sensitive about, because in that moment, that could be a make or break time. Yes. Because this is the first time he's being open and vulnerable. And if you play him, you might not see that side of him again.
Yeah.
Because he don't trust you. He opened up. This was hard.
It was already hard.
It was hard. I'm already thinking, like, I feel like now I trust this person enough to where they'll still respect me. They won't judge me if I open up and say something. And if you drop the ball in that moment or play him in that moment, you might not see that side of him again.
Ever again.
And that's something that you have to be aware of as women. But for men, we, you know, it's like we always are aware of it because we understand that that's just what comes with the territory of just being the openness, the revealing themselves and stuff like that. But on the other side, men, the opportunities are slim, and we have to be in a space to where we feel safe to do it because we are judged if we open up. But Bree has opened up a way more sensitive side to me, and I actually love it. Like, before I got in my relationship with Bree, in full transparency, I thought I was really like a hardened person. Like, I would see things, I ain't have emotions, crying, like none of that stuff. But ever since I got with Bree, I definitely, more sensitive side has opened up to me. Like, I could see something and like start shedding tears because it's like it moved me. And I think that all came from that relationship and opening up another side of vulnerability inside of me, and also being comfortable with it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I think that is just a human thing that we all should be allowed to feel. Like, because God did not create us. We're different, but we're not that much different. Like you said, we all have insecurities. Children, men, women, like we all have insecurities. So that means we all can feel pain. We can all struggle with things. And so it should not be this really strong separation between, oh, if he feels that, then he's soft. But if you feel that, it's okay. Like, no, like he's a person, you know, he's a person, and he should be able to feel that. And I love that your relationship has brought that to the forefront, for sure. It's a beautiful thing. All right, so let's get into a little bit of the meat of this scenario here. Okay. Because listen, the part that just, like I said, blew my mind was the omission of having a child. And I've deeply, deeply, deeply wish I knew how long these two people have been dating each other. But even if they've only been dating for like 2 months, even if it's only been 4 weeks, not telling someone you have a child, I just don't understand the reasoning for that. Like, you may not introduce the person to your child. That's fine. But just not talking about it at all, I just am like, huh? Like, do you think that's a really bad sign? Like, I think it's a very, very bad sign.
Yeah, I mean, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. And I think that this is something that we all do in so many different ways. If we know we have something going on that may cause controversy or may be an issue, we purposely try to hide it.
Yes.
I did this the other day. Bree and I ain't got a front license plate because she don't want it on there, and our little Spire ticket for our car emissions is expired. A police was beside me. I was like breaking back, turned into the gas station because I'm like, I know I'm doing something wrong. I ain't trying to.
I don't want this.
I don't want this. I'm hiding it. You know, I'm getting out the way so I don't. You know, I don't want no beef or no issues.
Yeah.
But realistically, with this relationship, I think that in this moment she knew that could be a deal breaker for somebody.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So it's like, I feel like, and I'm sorry to our real lover, but I feel like it's somewhat manipulative.
Yes.
Right. To try to get somebody to fall for you first, so that now it's a decision that they have to really grapple with or, you know, figure out because they already fell for you.
Yes.
But I feel like in certain situations, things should be exposed. And it's not how deep. And I think there's certain times. So when you do it, I think, you can get to know somebody first before you say like, hey, this is, I have a child. Like, I'm okay with maybe if you don't mention it on the first day. I think if they ask you, you should
be honest.
Yes. I think that you shouldn't purposely avoid it. If somebody is like, would you like children? And you're like, maybe someday. And you don't tell them you actually got one already. I feel like that's being manipulative and being deceiving. Yeah. But I also understand discretion at certain points. So like, let's say for instance, we know that some people don't want to, in this instance, we know some people don't want to marry or be with somebody who has a child. That's a real thing. We also know that some people don't want to be with people who have like that for life STD, like herpes, HIV or something like that. So I think in those moments you have a duty to inform people. But for instance, with like a STD, you may not be comfortable with them enough to even know if it's going to a point to actually share with them early on what's going on. But the moment you feel it getting, we all know that moment where you feel it start to turn to something like, oh, this could be something. Yeah. Then I feel like it's important to,
be forthright
in this information. And it's like, it just, if I was in a relationship with somebody, and they just didn't mention that they had a child, that would make me think that there's something wrong with their character.
Yes. Bingo.
And it's not just the lying. It's like, are you even taking care of this kid? Are you ashamed of this kid? Like, it's so many different things that run through my head.
What else are you lying about?
Exactly. It would make me go for your character, and I wouldn't just be able to see that moment as that moment.
Yes. I think that people think that omission is better than lying. And I think that's a case-by-case situation. In some situations, like you just explained, omitting something for a set amount of time in order to make sure that what you're sharing with them will be safely held is one thing. But to me, having a child is not one of those things. Anytime you omit something that significant, you are absolutely being manipulative. You are intentionally withholding that information with hopes that this person will either really like you, really love you, and like you said, they'll grapple with the decision to keep talking to you once you reveal it to them. But I also really want to caution people that when you do that, you are wasting your time just as much as you are wasting their time, because if they do not want to date someone that has a child, if they do not want to relocate to be with you, if they do not want children, right? Like you don't have children, they don't have children, but you never talk about this because you're like, let's just table it till later. And you never find that out. Now you've spent weeks, months, potentially years with someone where your fundamentals are not aligned. And guess what's going to happen? The relationship still's not going to happen. So all of your sorcery and your wizardry and all the things that you did to hide it, it really hurts you. It hurts them too, because you wasted their time, but you wasted yours too. So it just would be more beneficial to be honest. Like, tell the truth about who you are, that you have a child, especially that you have a child, even if it's complicated, even if the relationship is complicated. Say that, because when you don't, like you said, it makes me look at you like, huh? Like you would hide a baby? Like that's massive, man. So it's no way that can really survive, because to me, that's a severe infraction. Like that was too much. You took it too far. So now I just distrust you overall. Now I feel like everything you told me, like, do you really live in South Africa? Like, is your name whatever you told me your name is? I'm not sure. And
the thing about this scenario too is that I agree with everything you said, but with this scenario, it's like, if you would have told that person in the beginning, the kid don't impact that relationship right now anyways, because y'all both in two separate places right now. You know what I mean? Yes. So it's like, he probably would have still, and that's one thing I see with a lot of times when people omit things and don't come forth right. There's like, if you just would have told me honestly,
it wouldn't have been a problem.
Or, I would have liked to have made that decision myself versus you making that decision for me. It's just all these things. It's like, you can't. And like I said, in this situation, it's a kid, but in a lot of situations, it's other different things. And I think the way that people fall into this is that they know they need to tell the person, but then they wait for the right time. Right. Now it's 3-4 months in, and the person's liking them and they liking them. And now they think that this thing will be the bomb that blows it up.
Yeah.
So they're like stuck because they knew they should have told it in the beginning, but now they're 4 months in and they know if they tell it now, they're going to look crazy.
Yep.
So they just like,
now you just stuck.
I'm just stuck. And then they asking friends, what should I do? Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like if I tell them now, it looks weird because like, why would I hide that for all that amount of time? And it's like, girl, you just got to tell them. Like, I mean, the longer it go, the more it's going to get worse. And then it's like, listen, I got to tell you something. And then you tell them and they like, what?
Right. Like you are hurting yourself in this type of situation. For sure. It's self-inflicted harm. Like
I feel like I dealt with this. I mean, with my relationship is that it's not a kid, but waiting for marriage was a decision that I had made. And imagine if I was just with Bree and every time she was trying to have sex, I was just like kind of rejecting it, playing it off. Anytime she would want to be alone or do a sleepover, I'd just be like, nah, I can't do, a vacation out of town this weekend or something like that. Then we 4 months in and she just kind of like, what the heck is going on? And then it's like, yeah, I'm waiting for marriage. And she's like, well, I wish you would have told me that. Like,
cause I'm not,
I wouldn't,
you know what I mean? Like, what if that was her thing? Like, I'm not doing that. So why didn't I know that sooner?
Yeah, man. I see it all the time with kids, with a lot of different things that people do. And I just think it's unfair for you to make decisions for that person.
That's exactly what it is. So,
because on the other side, you would like to know the information because you have certain things that you care about and that you like and that, you want to know before you actually enter into any type of relationship with somebody.
Listen, I have two things. I dated a guy, and when I met him, he told me that he had 3 kids with 2 women. And I was like, okay, not nothing to me that wasn't that crazy. And we were older. So I'm like, okay, cool. We keep talking. Then he says he found out that he had a 4th child. Like in the time that we were talking, he didn't know that he had this baby, but this information just came to him. And so he took a paternity test and now he has 4 children with 3 women. So I'm like, okay, it's interesting, but all right. All to find out that he had 6 children with 6 women. 6 children with 6 women. So the original story was a lie. The second story was a lie. And then ultimately the truth came out, and I'm just looking at you like, can I imagine why you may not want to tell people that you have 6 children with 6 women? Yes, because it sounds like you are very messy. It sounds like you are very sexually sloppy, especially because it's not like you had 6 children within a relationship or 6 children with your ex-spouse. You made babies, multiple times with multiple women. So I could see why you would be like, if I tell a woman that, she really may not want to date me. But again, you took that away from me. You took my option away from me to be okay with you having 6 kids with 6 women. Now, don't get it twisted. I wasn't okay with it, right?
Yeah.
But now I have dated you. I have feelings for you. We have been intimate, and now I have to be like, oh, so you're just a liar. Like, so I'm good on it. Like, I don't want anything to do with this because you're manipulative. And you chose to twist the story to fit you, not even considering the fact that this would hurt me once I found out the truth about it. Moreover than that, for a person to act like they don't have children that they actually have makes me think that you're a bad parent.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just that you're a liar. I also think that you're a bad parent, because whether you struggle to be a parent, whether it's hard to take care of 6 kids, whether you have great relationships with their moms or not, you should be proud to be a father. They're here. They're here now. So like, they're yours. You have to take care of them. So when you don't admit that you have them, that tells me that you're not proud of them, that you're not proud to even have them. And now I not only think you're a liar, like I said, I think you're a bad parent. So that was like, I didn't like that. And then another thing, like when I'm on dating apps, like I want a child, at least one. And I have seen some guys that, based on everything else on their profile, they're good looking, their descriptions are great, all the things are good. But when I look and they don't want children, I swipe them. I swipe off of them. I swipe off of them. I am not about to get into a situation where I'm talking to this man and I'm already attracted to him. I already like what I'm seeing and what he's saying. But we talking and talking and talking, because to me, he would assume that I read that and I know that he doesn't want kids and I want kids. So do I think that I can really convince him to have them?
Yeah.
I don't want to be with a man that I have to twist his arm and be like, well, can you give me a baby? I know you don't really want babies, but can you give me I'm not going through that. I don't want to go through that. So to me, it works in both. It works in both directions. Like, be who you are and be firm in what you really want, and try to align with people who want that too.
Yeah.
Who are okay with who you are authentically.
Gentleman number one that you talked about, 6 kids.
Yeah.
That's childish. I used to do that. That was my report card strategy. When I got bad grades, I would tiptoe before I knew I got a bad grade.
Right.
But I would just set my mom up like early, be like, yeah, chemistry is just, it's tough, man. I don't think I'm doing well in that class. I may got like a C minus. I'm trying hard. I already know I failed, but I'm walking it in. I'm laying little drops so that I feel like once the report card come and she see what I actually got, then she was like mentally prepped for it because I was talking about it. So now the F may not seem as bad because I already told her it may be a D.
Setting it up.
Yeah. And that's what he did. He knew he had 6.
He knew it.
But he was telling you 2 to 3 just to kind of warm you up. So maybe if the other 3 came along, you'd just be like, whatever. Yeah, this is childish.
No, baby, because then it started to explain lots of things. It started to actually explain lots of things. Like, no wonder you can't do this. No wonder you're not available often. You got a lot of children, and I'm sure they're eating up a lot of money and a lot of time if you are an active father. So yeah, like, sorry, not sorry to our real lover. Sometimes you all are going right in, and it's our job to give you our honest advice.
Yes.
And that might sting, but yes, you come across as manipulative by doing that to him. And while I don't agree with the fact that he used harsh words to you, while I don't agree with the fact that he would hit you with silent treatment, which I do want to talk about that a little bit, I think you deserve to be I think he's justified in being really upset with you. Yeah. Absolutely. Because anybody that is making a real connection with you would be frustrated by that. I'm frustrated by it, and I don't even technically know you, and I'm not in a situation with you. I just think it's a little interesting, and I would love to understand maybe more, if you want to give us a follow-up, why you would do that. Because you're a mom, and I hope that you're proud to be a mom. Regardless of the relationship didn't work out, your baby is the blessing. Your baby's the blessing. So, listen, speaking of silent treatment, because we all deal with our frustrations differently. And when I first heard that, I was like, oh, I can't stand the silent treatment, right? Like, I want you to talk to me. But then I started thinking, like, sometimes silence is the answer.
Yes, it is.
Sometimes silence is a really powerful coping tool.
Yes.
And a solution to some things sometimes, to be quiet. Have you used the silent treatment? Do you think it's okay? Like, do you like to be on the receiving end of it?
Okay, so multiple things. I think that being on the receiving end, nobody loves to be on the receiving end of it, but I think that there are 2 different positions on the receiving end. There's one when you did something wrong to the person and you're getting the silent treatment. That's like in this situation, and it eats you up. Because you want forgiveness, you want some. It's like, tell me.
Please talk to me.
Like, tell me, like, how
even
you feel.
If you fuss at me, just talk to me.
Right. So that's one thing, and that sucks. And just with the silent treatment in general, people cope with things how they cope with things. If they say, I need space, you need to give them space. But on that end, that sucks. But then you have the side to where you may do something. I said you may do something. Or what did I say the first time? They do something wrong.
They do something.
They do something.
Yeah.
But you may have the times where you do something wrong and you get the silent treatment. Still sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Either way, it still sucks. But like I said, going back is that people need time and the space to cope with things how they cope with things. Mm-hmm. I learned that stepping away can be a sign of maturity and not immaturity. I think ghosting is different than saying I need some time.
Yeah.
Right? Like disappearing, that's a completely different thing. Agreed. That's immature. Especially if you're in a relationship with somebody. But just saying like, I just need some time. I've done that with Bree in our relationship before. She knew where I was at. Even times I told on this podcast where I stayed with my parents for a weekend just because I needed to gather my thoughts. Like we were talking about something that was heated. I just need to stay here for a weekend, gather my thoughts and think this through. Clear mind, no distractions. She knew exactly where I was at. She knew what I was doing. She knew why I was doing it. Yeah. But it's not necessarily silent treatment necessarily, even though I wasn't talking to her. It's just more like I need time to get my thoughts together.
Yes.
And figure out how I feel about this.
Agreed.
And I think that that's okay.
Yes.
But there's a way to do it to where there's a mature ways to do it. And then there's a way that, like I said, it's more like ghosting and just being like,
it feels harmful.
Exactly.
Yes, it's meant to be almost like a punishment.
For sure.
Yes, I think when you announce that you need space, you announce that you need time. Like, I am taking some time. I need to process. That is appropriate. It is still a form of silence because we're not going to talk. But to penalize someone by just like, they're like calling you and you just looking and like not picking up the phone, like that is what really, really hurts. That's the part that stings.
I've done it before now. I think about it and in a way that I knew like
this gonna hurt.
Yeah. I think I told that time where I had to pay for Bree's tow. Her car got towed.
Oh yes, and y'all rode home.
Yeah, we rode home silent.
No music.
Nothing. We're not talking.
This radio.
Nothing. Complete silence. Yeah. That was a penalization. Like I wasn't gathering my thoughts. I was just like, nah,
we gonna ride this out quietly. Yeah, you be quiet, I'm gonna be quiet. That's the best for the both of us. I agree with you though. I've been on both sides of it and it definitely hurts both ways. Because truthfully, I think when you really want to be on the other side of something, you don't want to have to not talk to your person. Like you're taking that time because you feel like that's probably an easy way of punishing their behavior, but you are probably also like being eaten up inside. Like, I want to talk to him, but I'm just so mad. Like, or you just don't trust yourself because I've done that where like you said, I need space because I don't trust how I'm going to communicate with you right now. Like as much as I want to talk to you, as soon as I get to thinking about talking to you, curse words, frustration, anger, daggers, that's all that's coming up. And so until I can trust myself to communicate my thoughts clearly and in a way that's not going to really like hurt you more, I just need my time. I just need my moments. I think when you're in a long distance situation though, that is so much bigger. It's because you and Bree can have silent treatment in the house, together. But she's right there. You can see her. There's still an energy and a connection because she's there. Even if you're not in the house together and you're taking your space outside of the house, you just outside.
Yeah.
You're a few minutes away or a few miles away. There's still a connection. But when you break the only connection you actually have, which is this phone or FaceTime, it's like, I have no lifeline to this person now. Like, I have no lifeline. Like they could be dead for all I know if I don't talk to them for 3 days. This could be so new that she doesn't have connections to friends or family. Like I think about times the benefit of when you go through something like that, you may not be talking to them, but you can check on them through a friend. Like, I ain't fooling with him right now, but he okay? He good? All right, cool. I just want to make sure he's okay. Or I can call his mom and be like, Miss So-and-so, we just having a tough time right now, but I'm not talking to him, but I just wanted to check on him through you. But if you don't even have that, you're like, oh my God, I don't have anything.
Let me tell y'all something. People.
When
you're in a relationship with somebody and you lie or omit something and you break somebody's trust, a lot of times what is happening with that person is they are grieving the person that they thought they were with. And you cannot tell people how to grieve. thought you were this other person, but you lying to them or breaking their trust in sometimes a dramatic fashion changes their whole perception of who they thought they were with.
Yes.
So now they're like grieving. Like, I thought I had somebody that was this person and was like this and was like that. But now I know they're capable of doing this. So this now makes me rethink everything I thought I knew about who this person was. Mm-hmm. And people grieve in so many different ways. So you can't control the grief process for somebody. And I know we always think about grief as death, like losing somebody, but this is a process of losing the person that you thought you were with. Mm-hmm. Like, and these things, like having a child and being in a relationship with somebody and not telling somebody you had a child, that's such a huge thing for somebody.
Yeah.
And it, like you said, it's like, if you didn't tell me this, what else am I walking into? Yeah. I'm even scared. Maybe I was setting up to come visit you. Now I'm like, I don't know what I'm walking into.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yes, child, talk. Tell the people. You still talking to the people? Tell them, because I'm like what Dre said. Yeah, that part. Even like the one thing that just popped in my head to piggyback on what you said, because I agree with everything you said, is like, what if he was the type of person that really wanted his first child to be your first child? What if that's something that was just in his head and y'all just hadn't gotten that far? Again, I don't have the context around how long they've been dating and it's killing me slightly, but what if that's a thing? That's a thing for some people. That was a thing. That's a thing for you. Yeah. Like, you wanted your first baby to be their first, Bree's first baby. Sure. And that's what you got. You could have dated a woman with a child. I'm sure you might have kicked it with some women that had kids, but it's like, that's something that I want for myself. That's a preference.
For sure.
You took that away from him the whole time. He's thinking you don't have a baby, but you actually do. It is nothing wrong with you having a baby, but maybe I don't want to be a stepdaddy. And I do have to think about that if I'm dating you seriously. You took that away from me.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me, and I'm putting this in my head right now, stuff be coming to me, but it kind of, I always talk about everything you do in your relationship is building a foundation for your relationship. Mm-hmm. But it's almost like you built the foundation of the relationship and help build the relationship up, but you cut corners on parts of the foundation, right? Mm-hmm. And then now the house is built, you living in it, and now the person realizes, because some things are happening, it's from they realize that you cut corners in building a foundation. So now they have to determine, shit, I'm in this house already. Do I stay in here? Because I invested so much in building it up, but it's not even on a stable foundation. So they have to determine, do I stay in here or not? And it's hard to do once the house is already kind of built up.
Yes.
It was just in the beginning, and I see in the foundation building stages that you cut corners. I can just be like, I'm not living in this house.
Yeah.
But now that I'm in it, it's like, now I got to make a decision. Mm-hmm. So now this is how this happens a lot of times, right? You have some people who forgive, quote unquote, right? Mm-hmm. But they still now resent because they wanted to have their first kid with somebody else, but now they love you, but they decide to move forward, because a lot of times when people forgive, it's not truly because they forgave, it's because they have the best intention and wanting to forgive.
Woo-hoo. Cook.
But after time goes along, they realize that they can't get over that thing. Mm-hmm. But they have the intention of wanting to get over it.
Yeah,
I've done it before in relationships that I've done something, had the best intention. Like, for instance, my girlfriend in college, I talked about it. I wanted to be with her, had the best intentions. Was I ready for a relationship? No. I entered into a relationship because I had the intentions of wanting to be in a relationship. Yes. But after being in that relationship, I realized I'm not ready for this. Mm-hmm. So people do that when they forgive you. They forgive you because they are pushing themselves forward to try to mentally get past something that they're not truly past, but they're thinking if they go back to normal operating, maybe it'll just fall back in place.
Yes.
But then after a while, they're just like, I can't do it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Wrap it up. Take the mic down. That's it. We done. Real lover, you good? No, that was good. You cooked that for sure. It's a lot. It's a lot to this thing. And I think what I hear when you say that is we really just have to be better stewards over the people that God put in our lives, even if it's just for a season, even if it's just for a moment, that you really try to do the right thing up front so you don't have to do so much playing catch up on the back end with apologizing and being forgiven and doing it right later, and that you just do it right the first time, or you recognize as quickly as you can that like, I'm going to break you. I'm going to break you. Like something is telling me, I feel that feeling that I'm not going to handle you in the way that you deserve to be handled. And instead of apologizing for it later, I'm going to bow out gracefully. And that does take a lot of maturity. It does take a lot of self-work and being really clear about who you are, like super duper clear about who you are and what you can offer to people. But that's what I hear when you say that, because the risk of the opposite side of it is that you could have a wonderful person who has the best intentions in the world to get past what you did, to get past your mistake, to get past a bad decision or an omission, but you run the risk of them never being able to. You run the risk of that. And is it really worth it? Because again, you could get years and years into that thing of them trying to get past something. And then you learn 5 years later, 10 years later, 2 houses, 3 kids later, that they never could get past it. And realistically, it could have been something that you could have controlled that they never had to get past if you would have just made a better decision up front. And so that's what I like, literally, while you were cooking that thing, that's what I heard. Like, we just have to be much more careful about how we handle the people that we get the chance to experience, because it's all a blessing for the most part, even when things are rough or you don't like the overall finality of the situation, you still had a time with them, and hopefully they can walk away and be like, just because it didn't work out, they're not a bad person. Just because we didn't want to be together forever or we didn't want to be friends forever, they're not a bad person. And I hope that at least while I had them, it was overall a pleasurable experience. And I think you really run the risk if you don't think like that going into it. Like, I'm going to do my best to be good to this situation, even if it's just for 6 weeks. No matter how long I got them, I'm going to be good about it. So that was great. That was highly enlightening. So to answer her questions, do you think he might leave me? And also, should she hold on to this, or is she being delusional?
Number one, I'm not even trying to be funny. I don't know what leaving really means when you are just long distance.
Yeah.
Like, do I feel like he might not communicate with you anymore? It's possible. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very much possible, because there's nothing holding the relationship together but probably some type of electrical device.
Yes.
Outside of that, no relationship exists. Mm-hmm. So it's possible that he may not talk to you anymore. Should you hold on to it, or are you being delusional? I think that you should operate. If it was me, I would just operate as, if I hit the person up multiple times, they're not answering, mm-hmm. there's no other option for me to get in contact with them. I would just kind of operate as, the relationship is over. Mm-hmm. Personally, for me.
Yeah.
And I would take time to, just heal, understand. I wouldn't just hop back into the dating scene. Mm-hmm. I would think about where I went wrong, what I should do, what I shouldn't do. But in this situation, like if you were in person or something like that, then I would maybe think a little bit differently. But you're in 2 different countries.
Yeah.
I don't even know if you're in the same time zone, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know offhand.
But I don't know offhand, but it's like 2 different climates. Like, it's so much difference in between things. We say people who living in Florida and Maryland, that's far, but like UK and South Africa, like that's a far, like
it's a hike.
That's a truly long distance. That's like
yes.
That's a long distance relationship. So I think that you should just, operate as if, I don't know, like it's over. Mm-hmm. Because if it was me, I would feel like that's really breaking my trust. And we have to understand sometimes too, that when we do things, I remember when a guy came and spoke to my school in high school, and he always said, every action has consequences. A lot of people think, hey, if I walk down the street, slap this person in the face, Either he gonna slap me back or they're gonna run. But it's like, no, that person could follow you home, you know, kill your family. Like, it's so many different options when you take actions. And I need people to understand is that when you take an action that breaks somebody's trust in a relationship, everything isn't repairable, and you don't know what is for that person and what isn't. It could be one of the smallest things of distrust, and they just can't do it no more. And you think like, that's all I did was text a girl, flirting with her or something like that, or, you know, got a girl number. That might be it for that person.
Yep.
And that action that you took may not be able to be repaired. So you have to be intentional with things that you're doing, especially when you're entering into a relationship. And I think in this situation, if it was me, I'd be like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm good.
And who knows, like, sometimes, and I ain't saying this is true, but there's men out here who I know they got like 5 or 6 and they make every one of them feel special. And that's the thing we may not want to hear in this.
Yes.
But you being virtual ain't that challenging. So after this, he might just be like,
I'm good.
I'm good. Because there might be
somebody else in the mix that's
local.
Yes, that's local, that isn't withholding this type of information. Agreed.
I've seen dudes that tell girls they love them. I've seen dudes tell women that they care about them. All that stuff. Sell the dream.
Yeah.
And I've seen them sell the dream in person.
Real bad.
Buying gifts, everything in person. It'd be easy to sell the dream virtually.
Whew.
Ain't much responsibility with that, is it?
Like you said, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to talk about it because, yes, this gets tricky, you know, especially as a person that's thinking about expanding to long distance dating. I'm like, I don't need another fear. I don't need another fear of you like having all these things that I can't see and I can't touch. And you know what I mean? So I do think that because he seems to do the silent treatment thing here and there, he may resurface. But he also may not. And I really agree with Dre that if you don't hear back from him soon, you know, I would say that it's a done deal. And it's just a learning lesson, you know, that you should just be forthright with what you have going on with that, whatever that is, so that you can find the person that's okay with that. That's really what you want anyway. You want someone that's going to be like, oh my gosh, you have a kid? How old is he or she? Like, oh, that's so cool. I love kids. You know what I mean? Like, that's who you actually want, not someone that you would have to hide the baby from because they don't really like kids. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, that's not what you want. So I think you obviously made a misstep. You know that you did. We will stop beating you up about it. A little tap, tap. We're not beating you up too bad. But I also do think there's room, obviously, for him to be mature and just simply communicate that this isn't silent treatment. This isn't a moment. I'm good. I'm done. You know, so that she isn't in limbo and she isn't confused about, is he coming back or is he not coming back? Just be like, nah, that was too much for me. I didn't like it. You were dishonest and I'm going to move on. But nice knowing you for the time that I did get to know you. I don't think you're being delusional unless you really sit around and hope and pray that he will return. If he doesn't resurface in a couple of days, you have to move on. Hanging on any further than that is, in fact, you being delusional. So I would love an update. I'm not even going to lie to you. So holla at us, please. Send us a DM, send us a follow-up email. We hope that we were able to help you.
And we love you and wish the best for you.
Yes. It's gonna be all right. We all make mistakes sometimes. We do. I've made them. Dre's made them. So we're not above reproach.
We call you real lovers because part of love is tough love.
That's right.
But it's all a loving environment here.
Love anyway. If you want to write into us, you know where to find us, relationshiprestore.com. Click the contact button and write into any of the shows. As you know, Worth the Wait is back.
Yep.
And just holler at us. You know, we love talking to y'all. And follow me on social media or connect with me there, Ronnie Cakes.
As Dre Smith.
And at Relationship Restore. And don't forget to get your tickets to Unplugged Connections.
Please.
Our very first, our inaugural event. We would love to see you there, to all our DMV, New York, Philly. You know, it's just a cute little drive, but we're worth it.
We're
worth it. We'll see you there.
See ya.